As of 12:01 a.m. Tuesday, the U.S. dropped a trade bomb, and the world is scrambling for cover. The Trump administration slapped a fresh 25% tariff on all imports from Canada and Mexico, while goods from China got hit with another 10% charge. This comes on top of a 10% tariff on Chinese goods that went into effect just last month, plus a mix of older levies lingering from the last China trade war in Trump's first term. Now, businesses are scrambling, markets are having a full-blown meltdown, and trade partners are looking at Washington like someone who just canceled plans at the last minute. Prices are climbing, supply chains are in for a rough ride, and this trade war is only getting started. Why is Trump imposing tariffs? The Trump administration is pushing these tariffs because it wants the U.S. to rely less on other countries, especially China, and focus more on making things at home. The argument is that this will protect American jobs, boost manufacturing, and improve national security. Trump's team also says it will help reduce the trade deficit, which they believe has hurt American industries for years. Beyond trade, the White House has linked these tariffs to issues like the fentanyl crisis and border security. The administration argues that stricter economic measures, including tariffs, could pressure other countries to crack down on illegal drug trafficking and tighten their borders. But not everyone agrees. Many economists warn that these tariffs could backfire. While some U.S. manufacturers might benefit from reduced competition, the overall impact could be harmful. With tariffs driving up costs, businesses that depend on imports, whether for raw materials or finished goods, will struggle. This could mean job losses, higher prices for everyday items like cars, electronics, and groceries, and slower economic growth. Canada and Mexico, two of the U.S.'s biggest trading partners, tried to avoid these tariffs by negotiating stricter border controls and anti-fentanyl measures, but their efforts fell short. Now, both countries are preparing their own countermeasures, with Canada planning tariffs on U.S. farm products and industrial goods. China, on the other hand, strongly opposes these tariffs and has taken swift action. The Chinese government has announced countermeasures, including increased tariffs on key American exports like soybeans, semiconductors, and automobiles, industries that could face major financial losses. Additionally, China's Ministry of Finance has placed a 15% tariff on U.S. chicken, wheat, corn, and cotton, along with a 10% tariff on other food items, including soybeans and dairy products. Beyond tariffs, China's Ministry of Commerce has also restricted 15 U.S. companies from purchasing Chinese products unless they receive special government approval. One notable company on this list is Skydio, the largest American drone manufacturer and a key supplier to the U.S. military and emergency services. How's the market reacting? The stock market has had a great fall since the new tariffs were announced, as investors worry about how they will affect the economy. Companies that rely on trade, especially in industries like technology, manufacturing, and consumer goods, are feeling the pressure. In the U.S., the S&P 500 dropped another 1.8%, adding to Monday's losses, which were already the biggest this year. The Nasdaq, which tracks many tech companies, fell over 1%, officially entering a correction, meaning it has lost more than 10% from its recent high. Automakers were among the hardest hit, with Ford down 7%, General Motors falling 14%, and Tesla plunging 34%. The fear is that higher tariffs will make it more expensive to produce and sell cars, cutting into profits. At the same time, many investors are moving their money into safer options like government bonds. This has pushed down the yield, or return, on the 10-year U.S. Treasury bond to its lowest level since October. While this suggests that investors are looking for stability, it also signals worry about the economy slowing down. Because of this, the U.S. Federal Reserve is now expected to cut interest rates up to 3 times this year to help keep the economy stable. In Europe, stock markets also fell as investors reacted to the escalating trade war. The Euro Stoxx 50, which includes the biggest companies in the Eurozone, dropped 2.5%, while Germany's DAX index fell 3.1%. German carmakers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Daimler saw steep losses because they have factories in Mexico and rely on cross-border trade. Currencies also reacted. The US dollar weakened slightly, while the Canadian dollar dropped to a one-month low before recovering. The Mexican peso, however, continued to slide, marking its fourth straight day of losses. The impact was also felt in oil prices, which fell after OPEC and its allies said they would increase production. Brent crude, the international oil benchmark, dropped 1.6% to $70.47 per barrel. One of the few sectors that gained was the European defense industry. Some investors believe that as trade tensions rise, governments may increase military spending. This pushed shares of German defense company Rheinmetall and British defense giant BAE Systems higher. What does this mean for you? If you're in the US, get ready to feel the impact in your everyday spending. Prices on groceries, electronics, cars, and even basic household items like toilet paper and chocolate are set to rise. Businesses that rely on imports will pass the extra costs on to consumers, and for those working in manufacturing or retail, there could be cuts to wages, hiring freezes, or even layoffs as companies try to stay afloat. But this isn't just an American problem. If you're in Nigeria, Kenya, or Uganda, the ripple effects will reach you too, just in less obvious ways. Many of the goods in local markets, from smartphones to home appliances, come from China. If production costs go up due to tariffs, expect those price hikes to make their way here. And with currency fluctuations already making imports more expensive, this could put even more pressure on household budgets. Then there's oil. China buys a massive amount of crude oil, and Nigeria depends on that demand to keep its economy running. If China slows down because of trade restrictions, it'll buy less oil, pushing prices down. That's bad news for Nigeria's revenue and could put even more strain on the naira. For businesses, especially in manufacturing and retail, things might get tricky. If you're importing materials or selling products that depend on foreign supply chains, delays and price increases could squeeze profits. Planning ahead will be harder, and for smaller businesses, surviving these shifts might mean making tough choices. At first glance, this might just seem like another geopolitical standoff. But as history has shown, when the world's biggest economies go head-to-head, everyone else feels the heat. With prices rising and the global economy facing new challenges, it's more important than ever to have a solid financial plan. Tariffs, inflation, and shifting trade policies can make everyday essentials more expensive, but smart investing helps you stay ahead.